Neso spit out his teeth and his Tellarite blood, coughing as Derek towered over him, the human soldier's hands dripping with Tellarite pride. At the Orbit 6 space station bar, Neso recounted his humiliating sparring match loss to his friend Garm. "You won't believe what that human did to me last week. I was overconfident, cocky. Figured I'd dominate the joint combat training." Neso took a swig of his beverage, blue blood still leaking from his split lip. "Humans look so small and soft next to us Tellarites. I laughed when they paired me with Derek Henry for hand-to-hand practice." Garm leaned in, not sure whether to be intrigued or to laugh at his friend's embarrassing story. Neso continued. "Derek's a head shorter than me, probably weighs half as much. I expected an easy win." Neso took another drink and slammed his glass down. "I was so wrong. Derek moved faster than I could track, dodged my attacks like he could read my mind. It felt unnatural." Garm's eyes widened in disbelief as Neso went on. "But that wasn't the worst part. When Derek attacked, I realized how badly I'd misjudged him. His strikes hit like plasma bolts. Precise, powerful, relentless. He knew pressure points I didn't know existed. In less than a minute he had me gasping on the mat." Neso rubbed his sore ribs, remembering the pain of his defeat. "Me, a martial arts master, beaten by a human rookie, in front of both our units. I've never been so ashamed." Garm whistled low. "I had no idea humans were such skilled fighters. I always assumed they were weak, fragile." Neso nodded. "I did too. But if Derek represents human combat abilities, we need to seriously re-evaluate our views. Tellarites can't afford to underestimate mankind." The two friends sat in silence, considering the shocking implications of Neso's swift defeat at human hands. If the much larger and tougher Tellarites couldn't beat humans in a fair fight, what chance would they stand in a real war? The balance of power in the galaxy may have just shifted forever. Garm leaned forward, his brow furrowed in thought. "So did you ever find out how Derek became such a skilled fighter? I mean, it's not like humans have the same natural advantages we Tellarites do. Our thick hides, dense muscles, and sharp claws." Neso nodded, a pensive look on his face. "You know, I was curious about that too, so I did some digging and found out that Derek had been training in various human martial arts since he was a child. Apparently, humans have developed a wide range of fighting styles over the centuries, each with its own unique techniques and philosophies." "Really?" Garm's eyes widened in surprise. "I had no idea. I always assumed human combat was pretty primitive and straightforward." Neso chuckled, shaking his head. "That's what I thought too until I started researching. Turns out human martial arts are incredibly diverse and sophisticated. They've got styles that focus on striking, grappling, throwing, joint locks, you name it. And they're constantly evolving and adapting, incorporating new techniques and strategies." "Definitely," Neso agreed. "And it's not just their martial arts. I've heard stories of human soldiers accomplishing incredible feats of endurance, strength, and tactical brilliance in battle. They may not have our physical advantages, but they more than make up for it with their adaptability and determination." Garm leaned back in his chair, a newfound respect for humans dawning on his face. "Wow, Neso. It sounds like we've been seriously underestimating these humans. Maybe we should be learning from them instead of looking down on them." Neso nodded solemnly. "I think you're right, Garm. I know I've certainly had my eyes opened. I'm actually thinking about seeking out Derek and asking him to teach me some of those human fighting techniques. Imagine combining our Tellarite strength with human skill and strategy. We'd be unstoppable." Garm grinned at the idea, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "Now that's a scary thought. The galaxy better watch out if we Tellarites start training like humans." The two friends laughed and clinked their glasses together, both eager to learn more about the surprising capabilities of their human allies. Neso couldn't wait to talk to Derek and see if he'd be willing to share some of his martial arts knowledge. Maybe this humiliating defeat would turn out to be a blessing in disguise, a chance for the Tellarites to grow and evolve, just like the humans had been doing for centuries. As they continued chatting, Garm suddenly remembered something Nesso had mentioned earlier. "Hey Nesso, didn't you say that joint training exercise where you fought Derek was for some specific purpose? What was that all about, anyway?" Nesso took another swig of his drink and nodded. "Ah, right, I almost forgot about that. Well, word is the big wigs upstairs are toying with the idea of putting together mixed units of Tellarite and human soldiers for special ops missions. They think that by combining our strengths we could put together some of the most badass combat teams in the whole damn galaxy." Garm's eyebrows nearly shot off his forehead in surprise. "Mixed units? Seriously? That's a pretty out there idea, man. I mean, Tellarites have always handled our own military business. What the hell made them suddenly want to team up with humans of all people?" Leaning in close, Nesso lowered his voice conspiratorially. "From what I've heard through the grapevine, it all started after this one dust-up with the Zorgons a while back. This tiny squad of human soldiers somehow managed to sneak into this Zorgon base that was locked up tighter than a Ferengi's wallet. Not only did they get inside without a single Zorgon noticing, they took out the whole damn command center too. No Tellarite unit had ever pulled off anything close to that before." Garm let out a low whistle, clearly impressed. "Damn, that's actually pretty hardcore. I guess humans can be sneaky little bastards when they put their minds to it, huh?" "Exactly," Nesso said, jabbing a finger at Garm for emphasis. "And that got the wheels turning in some important heads. They started thinking, what if we mashed up some Tellarite muscle with some of that human stealth and tactical ninja shit? We could curb-stomp any poor bastards in the galaxy that looked at us funny." Taking a contemplative sip of his drink, Garm mulled it over. "It's definitely an interesting idea, but do you really think it could work? I mean, Tellarites and humans are pretty different, culturally and in how we do things. Couldn't that cause some friction?" Nesso just shrugged. "That's the whole point of these joint training missions, so we can figure out how to work together and get over our hang-ups. And I gotta say, after seeing what Derek could do, I think Tellarites and humans could be a damn powerful combo. Sure, humans are puny, but they're scrappy, and they know how to adapt. We could pick up a thing or two from them." Slowly nodding, Garm started to come around to the idea. "You know, Nesso, you might just be onto something here. If we can get our shit together and learn to play nice with the humans, ain't nobody in the galaxy that could stand in our way. The Zorgons and anybody else stupid enough to fuck with us would get stomped into paste." Nesso grinned and raised his glass high. "I'll drink to that. To the future of Tellarites and humans kicking ass together. May our combined badassery bring the galaxy to its knees." "To the future," Garm shouted, clinking his glass against Nesso's. His eyes gleamed with a newfound fire, already imagining. After a moment of awed silence, Garm shook his head in disbelief. "I mean, can you imagine it? A lone human ship, outnumbered and outgunned, taking on a whole squadron of Corvan raiders and coming out on top. It's like something out of a holovid." Nesso leaned forward, his eyes wide with amazement. And the way they did it, using the asteroid field as cover, releasing that fuel trail as a trap. I never would have thought of something like that. The sheer audacity of it all. Garm nodded, a grin spreading across his face. "That's the thing about humans, isn't it? They're always finding new ways to surprise us. Just when you think you've got them figured out, they pull off something like this and completely upend everything you thought you knew." "It's not just their tactics either," Nesso added thoughtfully. "It's their whole mindset. That willingness to take risks, to think outside the box, and try things that no one else would even consider. It's like they don't know the meaning of the word impossible." Garm chuckled. "Or if they do, they see it as a challenge rather than a limitation. I swear, sometimes I think humans are just wired differently than the rest of us, like they've got some kind of built-in drive to push boundaries and defy expectations." Nesso took a sip of his drink, mulling over Garm's words. "You know, I used to think that kind of attitude was reckless, foolhardy even. But the more I hear about what humans are capable of, the more I'm starting to wonder if maybe we could learn a thing or two from them." Nesso shrugged. "Why not? If humans can achieve the impossible on a regular basis, maybe it's time we started expanding our own horizons a bit, challenging our assumptions about what's possible and what isn't." Garm leaned back in his chair, a contemplative look on his face. It's a tempting thought, isn't it? Imagine what we could accomplish if we started thinking more like humans, the breakthroughs we could make, the obstacles we could overcome. Neso nodded, a spark of excitement in his eyes. And if we could combine that human ingenuity with our own strengths, just think about it. Human creativity and resourcefulness, backed up by Tellarite muscle and determination, we'd be unstoppable. To the future, Neso echoed, clinking his glass against Garm's. As they drank, he couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation growing within him. If humans were capable of such incredible feats on their own, what might they be able to accomplish with the Tellarites by their side? The possibilities seemed endless. Garm set his glass down, a thoughtful look on his face. I wonder what other stories are out there about human ingenuity. If this pilot and Derek are any indication, there must be countless examples of humans doing the impossible that we've never even heard about. Neso nodded, his mind already racing with the possibilities. I bet you're right. And I, for one, want to hear all about them. The more we learn about what humans are capable of, the better prepared we'll be to work alongside them and face whatever challenges the galaxy throws our way. Garm leaned forward conspiratorially. You know what we should do? We should start compiling a list of all the most impressive human feats we can find. A sort of greatest hits of human achievement, if you will. Something we can use to inspire our own people and show them what's possible when you think outside the box. Neso grinned, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. I like the way you think, Garm. Let's do it. Between the two of us, I bet we can dig up some truly mind-blowing stories. And who knows, maybe in the process we'll come up with some crazy ideas of our own. The two friends leaned in closer, their voices low and excited as they began to plan their new project. The more they talked, the more energized they became, their imaginations fired by the incredible potential of human-Tellarite cooperation. If the stories of Derek and the daring pilot were any indication, they were on the cusp of something truly remarkable, a new era of discovery and achievement that would reshape the galaxy as they knew it. As their conversation continued, Neso couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the brink of something extraordinary. The future was wide open, full of endless possibilities just waiting to be seized, and with the combined strengths of humans and Tellarites, there was no telling how far they could go or what wonders they might uncover along the way. Garm was in the middle of describing another incredible human feat he'd heard rumors about, something involving a daring rescue mission in the heart of a dying star when... Garm's eyes widened as he listened to Zark's incredible tale. He leaned forward, his elbows resting on the table. Hold on a second. You're telling me that this human not only learned an entirely new alien language on the fly, but also used it to negotiate a peaceful resolution to a potentially deadly conflict? In the middle of a space battle? Zark nodded, a grin spreading across his face. That's exactly what I'm telling you, and from what I hear, it wasn't just a few basic phrases either. The human was able to engage in a complex dialogue with the alien commander, conveying ideas of diplomacy and mutual understanding. Neso shook his head in disbelief. That's just... how is that even possible? Learning a new language takes years of study and immersion. To pick one up in the heat of the moment like that, it's almost superhuman. Zark shrugged, taking another sip of his drink. That's the thing about humans, isn't it? They have a way of defying expectations and accomplishing the impossible. It's like they're wired differently than the rest of us. Garm sat back in his chair, his mind reeling with the implications of Zark's story. I'm starting to think that maybe we've been underestimating the humans all along. Think about it. First, Neso's story about Derek's martial arts prowess, then the tale of that pilot's tactical genius, and now this. It's like every time we turn around, the humans are revealing some new, incredible ability. Neso nodded thoughtfully. And it's not just their individual skills either. It's their adaptability, their resourcefulness. They seem to have a knack for thinking on their feet and finding creative solutions to problems. Zark raised his glass, a look of admiration on his face. To the humans, then, may their surprising talents and quick wits continue to amaze and inspire us all. The three friends clinked their glasses together, each lost in their own thoughts about the remarkable capabilities of their human allies. As they drank, Garm couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and anticipation growing within him. If the humans were capable of such incredible feats, what other surprises might they have in store? And more importantly, what could the Tellarites learn from them? Nesso set his glass down, a determined look on his face. "You know, Zark, I think you might be onto something here. If the humans are as capable as these stories suggest, we need to start paying closer attention to them, studying their methods, their strategies, their way of thinking." Zark nodded, leaning forward conspiratorially. "That's exactly what I've been thinking. In fact, I've been working on a proposal for a joint Tellarite human research initiative, a way for us to learn from each other and combine our strengths." Garm's eyebrows shot up in surprise. "A joint research initiative? That's a bold idea, Zark, but I like it. Imagine what we could accomplish if we pooled our knowledge and resources with the humans." Nesso grinned, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "We could unlock whole new frontiers of science and technology, make discoveries that could change the galaxy as we know it." As the three friends continued to discuss the possibilities, their voices grew louder and more animated. The other patrons in the bar began to take notice, some even edging closer to listen in on the conversation. Garm leaned back in his chair, marveling at the sheer audacity of the human engineer's feat. Can you imagine the guts it must have taken for Jack to venture into that engine room? I mean, with the ship taking fire and the whole room filled with deadly plasma, it's a wonder he made it out alive. Nesso nodded, his eyes wide with admiration, and the fact that he managed to cobble together a heat shield from scraps and debris, that's some serious resourcefulness right there. I doubt any of our engineers would have thought to do that in the heat of the moment. Zark chuckled. "I see what you did there, Nesso. Heat of the moment. Very fitting given the situation Jack found himself in." Nesso grinned. "Unintentional pun, I assure you. But seriously, the more I hear about this Jack fellow, the more impressed I am. To have the presence of mind to not only repair the conduit, but also reroute power to the backup engines. That's some quick thinking under pressure." Garm took another sip of his drink, nodding thoughtfully. "It really makes you wonder what other incredible feats humans are capable of. I mean, if one engineer can single-handedly save a battleship in the middle of a firefight, imagine what a whole crew of them could accomplish." Zark leaned forward, a gleam in his eye. "You know, I've heard rumors that the Galactic Federation is considering creating specialized human engineering teams for their ships. Apparently they were so impressed with Jack's performance that they want to see if they can replicate it on a larger scale." Nesso raised an eyebrow. "Specialized human engineering teams? That's a pretty big vote of confidence in human capabilities. I wonder how the other species in the Federation feel about that." Garm shrugged. "I imagine some of them might be a bit jealous or resentful, but at the end of the day you can't argue with results. If having human engineers on board can make the difference between a ship surviving or being destroyed, I think most species would learn to accept it pretty quickly." Zark nodded. "Agreed, and who knows? Maybe having humans working alongside other species in these specialized teams could lead to even more incredible innovations and breakthroughs. The combination of human ingenuity and the technological know-how of other races could be a formidable force." Nesso smiled, raising his glass once more. "To the future of interspecies collaboration, then. May we all learn to appreciate and harness the unique strengths and talents of those around us, humans included." Garm and Zark raised their glasses in agreement, the clinking of their drinks echoing through the bar. As they sat back and continued to swap stories and speculate about the future, each of them couldn't shake the feeling that they were witnessing the dawn of a new era, one in which the incredible capabilities of humans would play an increasingly pivotal role in shaping the destiny of the galaxy. As the trio sat in contemplative silence, each marveling at the incredible feat of diplomacy Amanda Price had achieved, Nesso suddenly leaned forward, his brow furrowed in thought. "You know, Zark, I can't help but wonder, how Amanda managed to convince the Kree and Skrull artists to participate in the exhibition in the first place. I mean, given the long history of animosity between their races, it must have taken some serious persuasion skills. Zark nodded, a hint of admiration in his voice. From what I've heard, Amanda approached the artists individually, taking the time to listen to their stories and understand their perspectives. She didn't try to minimize the differences between the Kree and Skrulls, but rather emphasized the shared love of art that transcended those differences. Garm chuckled, shaking his head. Leave it to a human to find common ground in something as abstract as art. I would have never thought to look for a solution there. Zark grinned. That's the thing about humans, isn't it? They have this uncanny ability to see possibilities where others see only obstacles. Amanda didn't let the centuries of conflict between the Kree and Skrulls discourage her. She dug deeper, looking for the underlying humanity that connected them. Nezo sat back in his chair, a look of wonder on his face, and in doing so she managed to create a space where the Kree and Skrulls could interact not as enemies but as fellow artists, appreciating each other's work and finding unexpected points of resonance. Garm nodded thoughtfully. It's a powerful reminder that even the most intractable conflicts can be approached from a new angle. Amanda showed that sometimes the key to diplomacy lies not in hammering out agreements at a negotiating table, but in building understanding through shared experiences. Zark raised his glass once more. To Amanda Price and the artists who took a chance on her vision, may their courage and creativity inspire us all to look beyond our differences and find the common threads that bind us together. As the friends clinked their glasses in agreement, each found themselves reflecting on the profound impact a single human had made in the complex tapestry of intergalactic relations. Amanda's success was a testament to the power of empathy, creativity, and the willingness to take a leap of faith, qualities that seem to be woven into the very fabric of human nature. Zark's eyes lit up, eager to share more details of the groundbreaking event. Well, from what I've heard, the exhibition featured a wide range of artistic styles and mediums, reflecting the rich cultural heritage of both the Kree and Skrulls. There were intricate sculptures, vibrant paintings, and even some interactive installations that encouraged attendees to engage with the art on a more personal level. Garm's eyebrows shot up in surprise. Interactive installations? That's a bold choice for a diplomatic event. I can't imagine many Tellarite officials being willing to let their guard down like that. Zark chuckled. And that's precisely why it was so effective. By creating a space that encouraged participation and exploration, Amanda helped break down the barriers that had kept the Kree and Skrulls apart for so long. Attendees found themselves drawn into conversations about the art, sharing their interpretations and experiences with one another. Nezo shook his head in amazement. I can only imagine the buzz in the room as Kree and Skrull officials found themselves bonding over a particularly striking piece or debating the merits of different artistic techniques. It must have been a surreal sight. Zark nodded. From what I've heard, there were moments of tension, to be sure. Centuries of conflict don't disappear overnight, but Amanda and her team were there every step of the way, facilitating discussions and helping attendees navigate the unfamiliar terrain of cross-cultural dialogue. Garm leaned back in his chair, a look of admiration on his face. It's incredible to think about the ripple effects an event like that could have. Even if it doesn't lead to an immediate peace treaty, it's laid the groundwork for future cooperation and understanding between the Kree and Skrulls. Zark agreed exactly, and that's the true power of what Amanda accomplished. She showed that diplomacy doesn't always have to be about high-stakes negotiations or grand gestures. Sometimes the most meaningful progress happens in the small moments of connection and empathy that art has a unique power to facilitate. As the trio continued to discuss the exhibition and its implications, each found themselves marveling at the ingenuity and bravery of Amanda Price. In a galaxy fraught with conflict and division, she had dared to imagine a different path, one that led not through force or coercion, but through the power of shared human experience. Nezo couldn't help but feel a sense of pride at being associated, however distantly, with a species capable of such remarkable feats. If humans like Amanda were out there, working tirelessly to build bridges and foster understanding. Perhaps there was hope for the galaxy yet. Garm leans back, his eyes wide with amazement as he processes Nesso's tale. Wait, so let me get this straight. This human soldier, Jack Ryan, managed to outsmart a rogue military AI using nothing but his wits and unpredictability? Nesso nods, a grin spreading across his face. That's right. While the Federation's top strategists were running around in circles trying to anticipate the AI's next move, Jack took a completely different approach. He realized that the key to defeating the AI wasn't to outthink it, but to confuse it. Zark shakes his head in disbelief. I still can't wrap my head around it. How do you confuse an AI that's designed to analyze and predict every possible scenario? Nesso leans forward, his voice lowering as if sharing a secret. By doing things that make no sense from a logical perspective. Jack would order his troops to attack seemingly random targets, or withdraw from engagements that the AI had predicted he would win. He'd make moves that seemed completely counterintuitive, but that's exactly what threw the AI off balance. Garm frowns, trying to picture the scene. But surely the AI would have adapted eventually, right? I mean, it's designed to learn and evolve based on new data. Nesso shakes his head. That's the thing. Jack never gave it a chance to adapt. He kept changing his tactics, always staying one step ahead. The AI couldn't keep up with the sheer unpredictability of his actions. Zark leans back in his chair, a look of awe on his face. Incredible. So in the end, it was the human capacity for creativity and lateral thinking that won the day. The AI, for all its advanced algorithms and processing power, couldn't match the flexibility of the human mind. Nesso nods, a note of pride in his voice. Exactly, and that's what I find so fascinating about humans. They have this incredible ability to think outside the box, to come up with solutions that no one else would even consider. Garm raises his glass, a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. To the ingenuity of the human race, then, may we never underestimate their ability to surprise us. As the three friends clink their glasses together, each lost in their own thoughts, Nesso can't help but feel a sense of excitement at the prospect of what other incredible feats humans might be capable of. If a single soldier like Jack Ryan could outwit a rogue AI, what else might the human race achieve in the years to come? Zark sets his glass down, a thoughtful look on his face. You know, this whole thing with Jack and the AI has got me thinking. If humans are capable of such incredible acts of ingenuity in a crisis, what kind of innovations might they come up with in other areas? Garm nods, his brow furrowed in concentration. It's a good question. I mean, we've already seen examples of human creativity in fields like art and diplomacy. Who's to say they couldn't bring that same out-of-the-box thinking to things like science or technology? Nesso leans forward, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Exactly. Imagine what kind of breakthroughs humans might achieve if they applied that same lateral thinking to problems like energy production or space travel. They could completely revolutionize entire fields of study. Zark grins, caught up in Nesso's enthusiasm, and with their knack for adaptability and resourcefulness, they'd probably find ways to do it on a shoestring budget, too. No fancy equipment or unlimited resources necessary. Garm chuckles, shaking his head in amazement. It's almost scary to think about, isn't it? The potential for humans to shake up the status quo and turn established ways of thinking on their head. Nesso nods, a note of awe in his voice. It really is, and the more I hear about their exploits, the more I can't help but wonder what other incredible stories are out there waiting to be told. Zark raises an eyebrow, a mischievous glint in his eye. Well then, gentlemen, I propose a challenge. Let's each make it our mission to seek out and share the most awe-inspiring tales of human ingenuity we can find. No feat too small, no story too outlandish. Garm grins, lifting his glass in a toast. I'll drink to that, to the incredible humans and the stories that remind us just how remarkable they truly are. As the three friends clink their glasses together once more, each feels a renewed sense of appreciation for the... Nesso's eyes widen as he listens to Garm's account of Dr. Chen's brave actions. Wait, so let me get this straight. he says, leaning forward. This human doctor not only had the knowledge to treat a Zorgon, but also the guts to stand up to their entire delegation. Garm nods, a grin spreading across his face. That's right. She knew she was the only one who could help, and she wasn't about to let some bureaucratic red tape get in the way. Zark shakes his head in amazement. I can't even imagine the pressure she must have been under, knowing that every second counted and that she was going against the wishes of some of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Garm takes a sip of his drink before continuing. And that's not even the best part. When the Zorgon delegation tried to have her punished for her actions, she didn't back down. She stood her ground and argued her case before the Galactic Federation. Nesso raises an eyebrow. Really, how did that go? Garm leans back in his chair, a satisfied smile on his face. Well, it turns out the Federation was pretty impressed with her dedication and expertise. They ruled that she had acted in the best interests of the patient, and that her actions were justified given the circumstances. Zark lets out a low whistle. That's a huge victory for her, and for humans in general, I'd say. It shows that they're not afraid to stand up for what's right, even in the face of overwhelming opposition. Nesso nods thoughtfully. It's not just their medical knowledge that sets them apart, then. It's their compassion, their sense of ethics. They seem to have a deep-seated need to help others, regardless of the risks to themselves. Garm raises his glass once more. And that, my friends, is what makes humans truly remarkable. They may not have the physical strength or advanced technology of some other species, but they more than make up for it with their heart and their courage. As the three friends clink their glasses together, each finds themselves marveling at the incredible resilience and determination of the human spirit. In a galaxy filled with countless intelligent species, it seems that humans have a unique ability to defy expectations and make a difference, one brave act at a time. Zark sets his glass down, a thoughtful look on his face. You know, stories like this make me wonder what other incredible things humans might be capable of. I mean, if a single doctor can stand up to the Zorgons and win, what else might they achieve? Nesso leans forward, his eyes sparkling with curiosity. That's a good question. I've heard rumors of human scientists making breakthroughs in fields like quantum physics and nanotech. Maybe they'll be the ones to unlock the secrets of the universe. Garm chuckles. Or maybe they'll be the ones to finally broker a lasting peace between the Kree and the Skrulls. If anyone can find a way to bring those two stubborn races together, it's the humans. The three friends continue to speculate and dream, each imagining a future in which humans play an increasingly vital role in shaping the destiny of the galaxy. And as they talk, they can't help but feel a sense of excitement and hope, a feeling that, with beings like Dr. Chen leading the way, anything is possible. As the conversation turns to the future potential of human contributions to the galaxy, Zark's expression grows pensive. You know, as impressive as these individual feats are, I can't help but wonder about the bigger picture. What do you think the long-term impact of humanity's presence on the galactic stage will be? Nesso takes a thoughtful sip of his drink before responding. That's a deep question, Zark. I suppose it depends on how well they integrate with the other species out there. Will they be seen as equals, or will their differences set them apart? Garm leans forward, his brow furrowed. I think it's going to come down to trust. The Zorgon incident with Dr. Chen is a perfect example. She had to overcome a lot of prejudice and suspicion to do what she did. If humans can keep proving themselves as reliable allies and friends, I think they'll go far. Zark nods slowly, considering Garm's words. But what about the flip side of that coin? What if their boldness and unconventional thinking ruffles too many feathers? Not everyone appreciates having the status quo challenged. Nesso shrugs. True, but that's the risk you take when you're forging a new path. The humans seem to understand that progress often requires a little disruption. And from what we've seen, they're not afraid to shake things up if it means doing what's right. Garm raises an eyebrow, a small smile playing at the corner of his mouth. Are you suggesting that the galaxy could use a little more human-style disruption, Nesso? Nesso grins. All I'm saying is sometimes a fresh perspective can be a good thing. The humans have a way of looking at problems from angles that the rest of us might never consider. Who knows what kind of innovative solutions they might come up with, given the chance. Zark leans back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. I suppose only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. The galaxy is a lot more interesting with the humans around. I have a feeling we're going to be hearing a lot more stories like Dr. Chen's in the years to come. Garm raises his glass in a final toast. To the future, then. May the humans continue to surprise and inspire us, and may we have the wisdom to learn from their example. As the three friends drain their glasses, each is lost in their own thoughts about the incredible potential of humanity. They may be small in number compared to the vast civilizations of the galaxy, but their impact is already being felt in ways both big and small, and as the stories of their bravery and innovation continue to spread, it seems certain that their influence will only grow in the years to come. The trio sits in contemplative silence for a moment, the weight of their conversation hanging in the air. Garm is the first to break the quiet, his voice low and earnest. You know, talking about all these incredible human feats has got me thinking. What if we're looking at this the wrong way? Nesso frowns, curious. What do you mean? Garm leans forward, his eyes intense. Well, we keep talking about how humans are impacting the galaxy, right? How they're changing things and shaking up the status quo. But what if it's not just about them influencing us? Garm takes a deep breath, organizing his thoughts. What if the real story here is about how the galaxy is changing the humans? Think about it. Every time they interact with a new species, encounter a new challenge, or face a new problem, they're growing and adapting. They're becoming something more than they were before. Nesso's eyes widen as he considers Garm's words. You're saying that the humans aren't just changing the galaxy is changing them too. Garm nods, a spark of excitement in his eyes. Exactly, it's a two-way street. The humans are learning from us just as much as we're learning from them, and in the process, they're evolving into something new, a species that's not just defined by their biology, but by their experiences and their relationships with others. Zark leans back in his chair, a slow smile spreading across his face. That's a profound thought, Garm. It suggests that the humans' greatest strength might not be their individual skills or abilities, but their capacity for growth and change. Nesso nods, his expression thoughtful. And if that's true, then their potential is truly limitless. Who knows what kind of beings they might become, given enough time and exposure to the wonders of the universe. Garm raises his empty glass, a gesture of respect and admiration. To the humans, then. May their journey be long and fruitful, and may we have the privilege of witnessing their transformation. The three friends sit in silence once more, each pondering the incredible implications of Garm's insight. The humans, it seems, are not just another species to be studied or admired. They are a work in progress, a living embodiment of the very essence of change and growth. And as they continue to explore the galaxy and forge new connections, there's no telling what marvels they might yet unveil, both within themselves and in the cosmos beyond. As the weight of their realization settles upon them, Zark breaks the silence with a chuckle. You know, if someone had told me a year ago that I'd be sitting here, waxing philosophical about the nature of human evolution, I would have laughed in their face. Nesso grins, nodding in agreement. Same here. I used to think of humans as just another primitive species. Clever, maybe, but nothing special. Boy, was I wrong. Garm leans back in his chair, a contented smile on his face. It's funny how a few stories can change your whole perspective, isn't it? I feel like I've learned more about the universe in the last hour than I have in my entire life. Zark raises an eyebrow, amused. And to think, we owe it all to a few brave humans who refused to play by the rules. If they hadn't been willing to take risks and challenge the status quo, we might never have had this conversation. Nesso's expression grows serious, a hint of determination in his eyes. You know, maybe that's the real lesson here. Maybe we all need to be a little more like the humans, willing to step outside our comfort zones and try new things, even if it means ruffling a few feathers along the way. Garm nods, his voice filled with conviction. Agreed. And maybe we need to start looking at our own potential in a new light, too. If the humans can grow and change in such incredible ways, who's to say we can't do the same? Nesso's words hang heavy in the air as Garm and Zark exchange a glance, the weight of the Federation's decision settling over them like a leaden blanket. Garm drains the last of his drink, setting the glass down with a thunk. "Unbelievable," he mutters, shaking his head. "After everything the humans have done, all the times they've proven themselves. And this is how the Federation repays them." Zark sighs, his shoulders slumping. "It's a damn shame," he says quietly. "But maybe we shouldn't be surprised. The Federation's always been cautious about change, especially when it comes to sharing power with other species." Nesso nods, his expression grim. "You're right, Zark, but that doesn't make it any less frustrating. The humans have so much potential, so much to offer, and now that potential is going to be wasted because of short-sighted bureaucrats and their petty fears." Garm leans forward, his eyes narrowing. "So what do we do now, Nesso? You said you're not giving up on this idea, but how do we move forward when the Federation's already made its decision?" Nesso takes a deep breath, his mind racing. "We start small," he says finally. "We may not be able to push through a full-scale military alliance right now, but that doesn't mean we can't find other ways to work with the humans. Joint training exercises, cultural exchanges, scientific collaborations. There are plenty of opportunities for us to build bridges, even without the Federation's official blessing." Zark nods slowly, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "That could work," he says thoughtfully. "If we can show the rest of the galaxy that humans and Tellarites can work together effectively, maybe we can start to change some minds. Prove that the Federation's fears are unfounded." Garm grins, clapping Nesso on the shoulder. "Count me in," he says firmly. "I'll talk to some of my contacts in the military, see if I can drum up support for joint training missions. Maybe we can even get Derek and some of his human buddies involved." Nesso smiles gratefully at his friends, feeling a surge of determination. "Thanks, guys," he says softly. "I know it won't be easy, but I really believe this is the right thing to do. The humans have earned our respect and our friendship, and I won't let fear and prejudice stand in the way of that." The three friends lapse into silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Nesso knows the road ahead will be long and difficult, with plenty of obstacles and setbacks along the way. But he also knows that the potential rewards are worth fighting for, a future where humans and Tellarites stand side by side as equals, working together to build a better, brighter galaxy. As they stand to leave, Zark hesitates, a troubled look on his face. "There's one thing that worries me, though," he says quietly. "If we start pushing too hard for human-Tellarite cooperation, some in the Federation might see it as a threat. They might think we're trying to undermine their authority, or even stage some kind of coup." Nesso feels a chill run down his spine at the thought, but he forces himself to stay calm. "Then we'll just have to be careful," he says firmly. "We'll take things slow, build trust and support gradually. And if anyone tries to stand in our way, well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it." Garm nods solemnly, his eyes hard. "We're in this together, Nesso," he says quietly. "No matter what happens, you can count on us to have your back." With a final round of handshakes and murmured farewells, the three friends part ways, each carrying a renewed sense of purpose. Nesso lingers for a moment, watching as Garm and Zark disappear into the night. He knows there will be challenges and setbacks ahead, moments of doubt and frustration. But he also knows that he's not alone in this fight, that he has friends and allies who believe in the same dream, who are willing to stand with him, no matter the cost. With a deep breath and a final nod of determination, Nesso turns and strides off into the darkness, ready to begin the next chapter in the ongoing struggle for human-Tellarite unity. It won't be easy, he knows, but then again, nothing worth fighting forever is. And as he walks, he can't help but feel a flicker of hope, a sense that maybe, just maybe, a new era of cooperation and understanding is finally within reach. Only time will tell, of course, but one thing is certain, with friends like Garm and Zark by his side and the courage and determination of humans and Tellarites alike, anything is possible, and Nesso is ready to do whatever it takes to make that possibility a reality. no matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice. The future of their two species depends on it. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.